into YouTube, so I don't have to connect every time.
Well, if you make it remember on your Google Chrome, it will.
No, you still got to click all the buttons. It's annoying.
And I don't use Google Chrome.
That's fair.
Everything is trying to track me.
Yeah.
For good reason.
It's episode 328 on December 20th, 2021 on Canadian Patriot Podcast. This is John McDonald with the music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I've got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. It's 9 o'clock Canadian, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the line, this is your song.
We'd love to hear your feedback about the show. Please visit CanadianPatriotPodcast.com/feedback or email us at feedback@CanadianPatriotPodcast.com. A version of the show is available on Stitcher and iTunes.
We need your help to support Canadian Patriot Podcast. Visit patreon.com/CPP and become a Patreon. You can get a better quality version of the show for just $1 per episode. Show you're not a communist and buy a CPP t-shirt for just $24.99 plus shipping and theft. Visit CanadianPatriotPodcast.com homepage and follow the link on the right.
All right, that takes us to my favorite segment. That's called What Are We Drinking? And I have it on good authority, although not legal authority, that this is also a plausible deniability. So we'll go anti-clockwise. We'll start with Gavin. Gavin, what are you allegedly drinking?
I am drinking, almost the last of the bottle of Crown Royal Northern Harvest and Diet Pepsi this evening.
Dave, what are you drinking?
Tonight I am drinking some Facts Amber Lager. It's quite delicious. Give it a try.
The beer of Danish kings.
Not unlike me.
Given to me by a Danish king. Well, I like to think of him as a king.
I'm so confused right now.
Is
Pierre, what are you
Danish?
drinking?
Or
Who?
he's Dutch. Marty. It's not the same
Danes
thing.
and Dutch are very different. You're going to
Damn.
cause a war on the internet.
Yeah.
Oops.
Oof.
Sorry.
One of them is going to be very
Messed that
angry
one
about
up.
their goats. The other one is going to be very angry about their dikes. Their whole thing is, it's not going to go well.
Yeah.
Oops. Messed that one up. My apologies.
Yeah.
All right, Pierre, what are you drinking? Please don't offend any Dutch people.
Yeah.
No, I'm
They're
drinking.
pulling their fingers out of dikes and
I'm drinking, I guess you could say, the most authentic Canadian whiskey possible.
I dig it. I am getting into the holiday spirit. It's Mother's Night for those of you keeping score.
Spirit.
Well, I know, but December cozy beers, man. There's a lot of things that I really enjoy about like the Christmas season. Not that I'm Christian or practice Christmas, but the holiday Christmas festive season is really like right up my eye. It's very cozy and there's fires and you get to visit with people when you're not having COVID lockdowns, and the beer selection is so wonderful.
Oh, so what you're saying is that you appreciate the traditional pagan aspects of the holiday and the variety of beer.
Yes. All of the finest European traditions, including brewing.
Since when do you need an excuse to drink ginger beer? I've seen that stuff in the middle of summer, don't lie.
No, but okay, so this is... I have, from Shakespeare Brewing in Shakespeare, Ontario, Gingerbread Pale Ale, and it tastes not unlike eating a cookie.
Is that pudding one that you gave me?
No.
No, the one that I got from a buddy was pudding. That was from Britain. It was like
I mean, I'd be willing to try that too. This is...
I think I gave you
This
a
is
couple
quite
bottles,
good.
but yeah.
I gotta say, my neighbors dropped off some like homemade ginger cookies. Man, they were so good.
Well, and that's one of those things, like, I enjoy this season for all of the
Yeah.
warm, cozy things that go on.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of great things about it. The visiting with friends and family and all of the spirit of the season is awesome once you get rid of all of the hokey Christian religious stuff.
Hallmark aspects of
Yeah,
it.
and all the stupid consumerist Hallmark nonsense
Yeah,
as well.
exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, once we get past all of those things. So, I mean, not that I have not started drinking Christmas beer, but one of my local breweries, one of my preferred local breweries, has all of their Christmas beers available now. So I'm drinking Christmas beer
I
and getting into that
stocking
spirit.
up.
Well, no, I went and did a little road trip with the boy the other day, and we drove over to Shakespeare because it's very far away, several kilometers, like almost tens of kilometers, almost.
Literally walking distance for Canada.
I mean, yeah, yeah. So we went and we stocked up on Christmas.
Second Gavin's here.
Another
there we
Gavin
go.
appears. So stocked up a little bit on the Christmas beer. Oh, good. Gavin has an echo. Oh, good. Gavin fixed it. We also want to remind everybody about the Patriot Challenge. 5 things every day to be a better person. Exercise for 45 minutes. Practice a skill for 10 minutes. Read a book for at least 15 minutes. And drink 2 liters of water. All while you complete one task to improve your life. And maybe that task is taking your kid to the brewery so he can look at the really big tanks. Because
I thought you were going to say something else there for a second.
No, my 3-year-old is all about, like, he wants to look at the fermenters. They're just like big silver tanks.
Or the big trucks outside?
No big trucks. All kinds are awesome. Fermenting tanks, actual tanks.
I would prefer actual tanks, but yeah, my kid likes to go to the brewery because there's a bunch
tanks,
of like large brewing equipment.
Tanks. Yeah. Fish tanks.
We're still talking about tanks.
Yeah.
All
this is the all tank podcast.
I was thinking of something else still.
I'd get tanked. I don't know why I'm not tanked right now.
I could drink 8 tanks.
Yeah. A tankard is a type of drinking vessel.
It's true.
A tank could be a type of vessel if you could get one of those ones that floats, as long as it's not one of those General Dynamic ones that they lose in the lake there near London. Section 74 challenges are ongoing. If you want to kick in some money to that, they've got their GoFundMe going. I think they're up to about $25,000, $26,000.
I got an email from Alberta Tactical Rifle Supply there. They're part of one of the challenges. They said that a court date is coming up soon. They've been given, gotta read the email again. I think they were finally given the information. Oh, here it is.
Well, that's good. One of our
maybe I'll just read it. It's pretty short.
One of our good friends that was there on the weekend is part of that case.
Okay. Is regular insurance statement of defense can be found. Yeah, it looks like they finally got like the information from the government, so now they can actually like plan their defense accordingly or something like that. There's I posted in the Discord. There's a link to the official release from the federal court website.
Well, I have not read it, and I'm not prepared to talk about that. But maybe if you're on our Discord, you go read that. If you're not on our Discord, you should go get on our Discord.
Yes. I'm gonna post it in general for now.
Okay, well, that's good. Put it there. We'll see. Other Andrew will likely move it because he likes to rearrange the Discord and keep me on my toes.
Neat and tidy. It's all right.
Yeah.
We need those kind of people.
Well, we're on the subject of this weekend. Should we talk about this weekend? I didn't really put it in the show notes, but we can certainly add it.
It was a good time. I think we should definitely go over it.
Well, then we'll stop alluding to it. Dave, as the reigning champion of the Dawn Did Nothing Wrong annual Ugly Christmas Sweater shoot, trademark pending.
Yeah.
Would you like to tell us about the annual Dawn Did Nothing Wrong shotgun shoot in which you were the winner?
Yes. It was a great time. On Saturday, we got together over at our Guelph range. It was a bit of a team effort to make this happen. Kind of somewhat short notice. We kind of got this thing together in the past month, and then I had to travel all over Southern Ontario to grab steel, get that put together, and then Marty messages us on Thursday night saying, "Hey, do you guys got some stage designs?" And we're like, "Nope." So Marty made some stages
Stage
for
designs.
us. Yeah.
Who needs those?
So Marty got us some pretty sweet stage designs. Last minute notice. He put together a pretty sweet little match. It's pretty awesome what 15 highly motivated individuals can set up in pretty much an hour's time on Saturday morning. We set up 4 nice stages on our big range there, big action range, and just had a great fucking time. It was snowing all day and a little slushy, a little wet, but a little cold, but I don't think anybody cared. We just had a ton of fun, and yeah, I don't know what it was, but I was just rocking my shotgun real smooth, hitting everything and not missing reloads, and my pump action, was not having any trouble with the weird weather. A lot of the semis were, so that had a
The
hand.
semis were having a rough go.
Yeah, and so yeah, it took the day as well, and then we had steaks and beer after to cap it all off. I mean, can't really have much more of a perfect day, really. It was a good time.
Oh, it was certainly good. I think a couple of points worth adding. This is the 4th, maybe 5th year of the annual Ugly Christmas sweater shoot.
Something like that.
More than that, maybe even. I mean, at least that we've been kind of started with Tyler and those guys.
Well, this is what I was getting back to. So Tyler, formerly of the International Liberty or Death podcast.
Yeah, big F.
Yeah, enormous F in the comments for the International Liberty or Death podcast. Tyler's club up in Sydenham used to run an annual Ugly Christmas sweater action pistol, defensive pistol type match. And they weren't able to organize that this year. So we took it on and moved it to Guelph and had a lot of the same people that we are used to having. And we run it as an invitational match. So if you are listening to the show and you didn't get a match, it's not us. It's definitely you.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not because we don't like you.
Yeah. But it might be.
But it might be.
So shoot with us more, and then you'll probably get an invite.
Just for all the listeners out there, I didn't get an invite either. Just to be clear.
Well, I mean, I feel like it was kind of implied, but you're also 4 hours away.
Yeah, but it would have been nice to turn it down. The option wasn't even there.
Part of this is that we have tried to have the same group of people involved in this every year. And we did move the venue a little bit. And we also changed from using handguns to shotguns. And we were able to borrow a lot of steel from other people, which if we borrowed your steel, you probably got an invite. If you've been running action matches of some variety in Southern Ontario through the pandemic, you probably got an invite. If we've been invited to your events, you probably got an invite.
If you're part of our legal counsel, you probably got an invite.
Right. But we also tried to keep it to like under 20 people because we didn't want to be there all day because it is cold and miserable and it is December and we were outside and I don't like to be cold and wet. And I'm okay to be cold, but I don't like to be wet. So
it was the perfect.
We did try to keep it
amount of time. Any longer, and it would have been annoying.
I was starting to get a little uncomfortable. It was fine as long as I had my gloves on, but anytime I took my gloves off to shoot, I was like immediately regretting it. It was just it was a little bit rough. So we do try to keep it small, but it is a lot of fun, and this is one of those things where do hard things with good people. Go make friends and go do stuff, because it, to Dave's point, was definitely a group effort. There was no way that we were putting this together as individuals.
With the three of us or the 4 of us, it was still not.
Well, no, but like you need a guy to go cart around all the steel, even if they use a little truck instead of a real truck. You need a guy to come up with all the stage designs, even if he was recycling them from other matches. You need somebody to come up with all the stage descriptions, even if Tim didn't show up to the match. Which again, like Tim's stage descriptions.
Glorious.
They were
thing to behold.
Yeah.
Tim's stage descriptions, as always, as is tradition, were fantastic.
It was a really fun day because I mean we've done a lot of matches, and like it's always us, running them. So it's a lot of work on our parts, and we absolutely do have people that help out, which really helps make that go. But when you have a group of 15 or so people or whatever we had that are all dedicated to
Equally
it,
motivated.
everyone does a little bit of work and it all gets done very quickly, which was nice.
Well, and I think this is where I might disagree with Dave's time assessment, because to say we got it set up in an hour, I think it's about 90 minutes shorter than it actually was.
It took a while to get set up because it was a little complicated trying to fit.
It was a little complicated, and it was 4 stages, and we were trying to do it in one range, and we only brought one Dutchman.
Yeah.
Yeah, we showed up about over the course of a half hour. Everybody's rolling in from anywhere from 8:30 to 9:30, and we were shooting by 11, I guess.
Yeah, but like it ran fairly quickly. I mean, there were a bunch of people standing around at times because we just didn't have that many people that knew where everything went. So if we had more people that knew, it would have probably got set up a little faster. But the nice thing was that like the teardown was sort of happening as we moved forward on the range to shoot the rest of the stages. So
I don't know if Marty planned it that way, but it worked out really well where we were just kind of cleaning up as we moved down.
Beautifully.
Yeah. So yeah, super fun.
It was good.
Yeah. If you want to
shoot with all my friends.
Yeah, if you want the invite next year, start running matches in this coming year and invite us, and then you'll get an invite to ours.
Pretty much.
Or provide me with legal counsel, or join the service pistol team, or do one of the other things to, be a positive
shoot with us more, a lot more.
Buy us drinks.
That's right. I have a price, and it's not a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I have a price, but you just gotta, $20 is $20.
Beer is not expensive.
Yeah, exactly.
$100 an episode.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like a new Patreon level coming out. I guess.
Yeah.
Dave did point out, and it would not be our podcast if we didn't talk about guns. Not that there's not gun news in the news, but
want something positive.
Did everybody notice how bad the semis ran with a little bit of cold weather?
It was comical. Like
it was
top tier shooters were just absolutely shitting the bed, and it was
everyone with a semi was having awful problems.
For the record, my semi ran as well as it does in good weather because I let a certain gunsmith touch it that I shouldn't have.
Well, yours wasn't too bad. I mean, I seen you had probably the least amount of problems for a semi compared to almost everybody else, other than maybe Craig.
What kind of semis are we talking about here?
Versamax.
Yes.
Shotguns.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure we cleared that.
One guy was using a Stoker. One guy was using a Stoker that couldn't fucking load the first round reliably for the life of him. A couple Versamaxes.
I did enjoy the person that. I enjoyed the person that brought the pump action 870 Express with the ghost ring sights and the short barrel and the breaching choke. That was a bold decision.
What is a bold choke? Is that considered a full or?
No, the breaching choke is just wide open.
Oh,
it's
okay.
no choke.
It's just a cylinder.
Yeah, it's just as wide open as you can go with then spikes on the front so that when you're breaching, you can jam it into the door and it's not going to
So you damage all of the props, so we have to build new ones, right? That's what it's for?
Yeah.
Yes. So, I mean, because it was some people that are not competitive shotgun shooters, and it was people from our service pistol team and my legal counsel and so on and so forth. We did have a few people that showed up with less than optimal equipment, but we also had a bunch of people that had shot competitively with OAS or IPSC shotgun or other 3-gun matches that were more suited to this type of event.
Yeah, it didn't seem to matter. So, I mean, everybody had fun, and not everybody's the best guy's stuff didn't run, and some of the other guys' stuff did. So,
I am very happy with my 4th place finish, since that is the first time I have shot that shotgun. Since that's the first time I've handled that shotgun in since before the plague.
What did you get?
4th place.
No. What gun are you using? Sorry.
Benelli Supernova.
Oh, okay.
It's bigger than a regular Nova.
That Italian stuff.
Yeah, it's Italian.
Is it bigger as a semi or as a full Nova?
But like a Chevy Nova, but with a different engine.
It was a little cold out though, so it wasn't quite as big as it could have been. It's a little
I don't
bit
know.
of
10 plus
shrinkage.
1, you tell me.
Is yours a semi and you're 10 plus 1?
No. It's a pump. It's a pump.
No, that was the
It's a
pump.
pump. Okay.
Yeah.
11
Oh,
plus
the
1.
the Supernova is the big. It's chambered for some weird hunting load. I don't know. I put a magazine extension on it and it holds 10 shells. That's what counts.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Going 11 plus 1 on my 590. It's glorious.
Yeah, your
Reloading is for
590 does
suckers.
run like a top, man.
Oh, it's sputter smooth. It's probably for a gun that's got work done to it. It's probably the best $1,500 I think I've ever spent on a firearm. Like best bang for the buck, no pun intended.
Terrible.
I think what I need to do though
It
is
does
just
run,
go
though.
get another Versamax and then just not let that gunsmith touch it, because
Gunsmith.
the Stogers seem to have some issues. The Jerry Mikulik seem to have a bunch of issues as well.
Yeah, to be
I don't know,
fair,
maybe
the
it's
one
just the
Stoker there
oil
was
that these people were using or what, because we've seen that before. Like that's usually historically the problem, is that you've used your summer weight oil in your gun, and now in the winter it's just like,
well, I think in the case of the Stoker, it was admitted by the shooter that basically was no oil. He said he hadn't cleaned it, and he doesn't even remember.
yeah, but
when,
there was a
so-
couple of those M3Ks out there that seem to be not doing so good. Although, I mean, I still think for the money, those are probably your best bang for your
Yeah.
buck for
once
competitive
you-
shotgun.
Yeah, once you work the kinks out and iron out any
But-
issues you are having with it.
I think for
can be
what they
for the
are,
money,
the
yeah.
Yeah, for
Stoker
the-
is hard to beat.
For the
700,
700 or
6,000.
whatever, like
Yeah.
that you pay to get into the game, and all you got to do is add a mag tube, and you're
Yeah, I
in
mean,
there.
I have that much tied up in the Supernova.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, my 590's got a lot of money into it. It's
Yeah.
as much work into it as it was, to buy off the shelf probably. But
Yeah.
it's a competition ready, right? Like it's ready to
Yeah.
go for IPSC standard manual division. It's got choke tubes on it. It's got a Cerakoted. It's got opened up around the feed ramps, like all the Magpul furniture, like that stuff. That stuff adds up when it
Right.
comes to gunsmithing. So
Oh, for sure. I also do again, because like do hard things with good people. The barbecue and beverages afterwards also quite good.
Yeah.
Dawn, who as we know did nothing wrong,
is a saint.
Dawn supplied us with tasty steaks and chicken.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a glorious cap to a good day.
If anything,
Yeah, I'd sit
the
around
food
and-
and beverage after was the most enjoyable part. Not that shooting guns with my friends wasn't, but
No,
Yeah.
but to be able to spend the day with my friends and to have a group of people to come out to a match and have it set up and
Yeah.
tear down. And again, not that it's not a lot of work, because like, I don't know if I was the match director or not, but I still kind of felt like I was the match director.
It's like
So-
co-directed with Marty, I think.
Well, and it was like I didn't have to do stage designs. I didn't have to deal with range safety. I didn't have to do any of that, like the match stuff.
Mhm.
But I still had to like be there to open the gate and get the tablets sorted out and do all of that like administrative stuff. But to be able to offload a bunch of that other work to somebody else and for stage design to happen and
Doesn't seem
stage
like so
briefings
much.
to happen, it was very nice to have as many people helping as we did, which again was kind of the like, we know the people coming to this, we're going to set up and tear down and be there for the day and not disappear on me midway through, because they won't get invited back if they do that.
well, exactly. And not that we don't appreciate the people that show up to the matches that we do, that just pay their money, shoot, and then go, because we appreciate you.
This is a different kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but this is a different kind of thing. And this is a fun match for us to have, and an annual match that's been going on for a number of years. And I get to wear a sweater that is older than I am, which is quite ugly.
Nice.
Indeed.
I do think our friend and listener Pat probably had the top tier sweater,
Yeah.
ugly sweater.
Yes. I think he won the prize
I-
for that this year.
I do still enjoy Marty's cardigan though.
It
Marty's
is.
cardigan
It's
is
classic.
good, but it's
classic.
no, when I think about you, I touch my elf.
Yeah. Yeah. Which, if you don't have an ugly sweater that says that on it, please contact Pierre's other half, his better half even,
Yes.
and they can put that on a sweater or a t-shirt or whatever you want.
Shall we do some news?
Might as well.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
All right. Allow us
We
to
don't want
compare and contrast two different police states in this province. No, wait. Two different police provinces in this country?
Yes, there you go.
This is the same photo.
Yes.
Well, we'll start with Ontario. Ontario is set to announce stronger COVID-19 measures for proof of vaccination. It was quietly rolled out a little over a week ago. The province the province is now planning to drop its plan to end the vaccine passport program in January, as the fat fucking chief previously promised.
Oh, you mean like 2 days before they said it would be indefinite, they said that it would drop? Weird.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Huh.
So
Weird.
a senior government official, which it annoys me that the CBC, the media outlet of record, references an unnamed senior government official. Just name the names. You're the media. Just
Yeah.
We know who it is. They're a public figure. Let's go.
name their
names,
name.
yeah.
Anyway, because cases of COVID-19 are surging again, because it's flu season in Canada. No, that's not. It's because,
No, we
Because of something
eradicated
that-
the flu last year.
well,
Remember?
It's almost
I
Christmas
wonder
time.
if we brought the flu back this year. But our unnamed senior
I think
government official
Justin
says that.
Timberlake had a song about that.
I thought he was bringing sexy back.
Oh, right. My mistake. Sorry.
What's that? I don't follow the non sequitur with the flu.
No, I thought he
It
was
was literally
bringing it
the only
back.
Justin Timberlake song that I know. Is there another one?
I just like making random
Cry
pop
Me a
culture
River?
references because you normally don't get them.
I don't know that I get this one either.
No, there is nothing to get other than it was just a random pop reference. That's it.
All right.
Okay,
Well,
so I'm just as confused.
good.
I bid you adieu.
Every-
Here, carry on.
Everyone have a drink. Carry on.
Yes. Okay.
We should make that a drinking game. Every time Gavin uses a non sequitur, have a drink.
Well, we're gonna get shit
Every
faced
time he
tonight,
makes
boys.
a pop reference that no one understands, drink.
I think I understood it. I just don't know. Like, I don't
No,
understand. the
he said he's
relevance of it.
bringing the flu back. He's
I
bringing
mean,
sexy back. That's all there
I
was.
guess if that's what you're.
It wasn't a
into.
very good one. Yeah. No, I'll work
Fair
harder.
enough.
Gavin wants you to move
Anyway, big change
Have
in
another few
Ontario.
drinks and we'll try again in 5.
Yeah.
Big
I'm
change
working
in
on it.
Ontario. Vaccine certificates are going to require QR codes because too many people are using fraudulent vaccine certificates.
Weird.
How do they know that?
Well,
Yeah.
I have a lot of questions. How do they know that people are using fraudulent vaccine certificates?
Yeah, because
If
I haven't heard of
86%
anyone getting caught, or
Caught,
fined or arrested.
No,
Not in
and I
any
believe-
great number.
I believe the fine is almost $1,000. I believe the fine is like something like $750 if you're not using the real papers.
Mm.
Oof.
If you have the fraudulent
So
papers.
is that why? Is that why the COVID count? There's so many more vaccinated people being confirmed on the daily count because they're using fraud papers.
Well, I wonder about this because this is in Ontario, the vaccinated
Right.
portion of the adult population, 18 years old or older. I believe the vaccinated number is like 86% for people that have gotten their 2 COVID vaccines.
Yeah, something like that.
So
Yeah.
14% of the population is running around with the fraudulent papers.
You know
Yeah,
what's
apparently.
kind of really
I
weird
find that
about this
suspect.
is that I could commit one fraudulent act of faulty fake papers, or I could commit 3.5 ethics violations for the same price.
Yes, but to commit that many ethics violations, you would need to be the prime minister.
Oh, I'm sure I could commit some
Or-
violations.
we're going to leave that alone for a moment.
We'll come back to that.
In Ontario, starting at some point soon, I think the new rule is coming into effect in December. It might be coming into effect in the new year. You have to use the QR code vaccine thing, and the new QR code scanner app is apparently standalone, doesn't require internet, and allegedly doesn't report back to the government. Bullshit. Sorry, I had to beer. Bullshit. Yeah.
You're allergic. You're having a reaction over it.
Oh, I have an awful reaction to government.
Yeah.
But
You're allergic to
I
that
do
bullshit.
not.
That's why I sneeze every time I go into work too.
I mean, if you're gonna make a fraudulent vaccine paper and the QR code doesn't go back to the internet to a central source, why couldn't I make a fraudulent QR code? Like, is that?
It'll be like, I mean, I guess it would be marginally more difficult than the completely unlocked PDF file. But
Right, and I'm not saying that we should like try to figure out how to get around the government's vaccination certificates or provide people with ideas about how to do that. But
human rights violations. Sorry.
14% of the population doesn't have their 2 vaccines, so they don't get their vaccine passport. So they're not allowed to participate in a number of events.
yeah, no reindeer games for them.
No.
And like, okay, so you do fine.
Well, those sporting events.
But
they just canceled.
if you decide to create and use fraudulent vaccine papers, why would you not also create fraudulent QR vaccine papers? I feel like the government is governmenting this.
Yeah.
I'm not complaining.
No,
Are you
I'm just
complaining?
no, but like it just seems like
Carry on.
there are
Carry
too
on.
many people being able to create fake papers.
There are too many people out of this
implement a new
14%
system.
of this population.
You guys aren't
Like-
surprised though, right? There's
No, I'm not
actual
surprised.
surprise here.
Where I am actually surprised is that the government has not made, and I see a bunch of logistical problems with this, but where I'm surprised is the government has not made a way to monitor everyone's vaccine paperwork through a central registry, because there's still no way to track who's gotten which vaccines when, because we don't have a central records keeping system in Ontario, not just for COVID vaccines, but for any vaccines.
I mean, just because
But also-
Ontario alone has 3 different versions of the Ontario vaccination record paper, that doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean that they can't do anything. I mean, when one
but-
province can't even standardize a form, that doesn't mean they're incompetent, does it?
Yes.
Well, it might mean that they're malicious, but in this case, I think I would prefer incompetence.
It means potato, which makes no
Pretty
sense.
much.
But if I remember correctly, wasn't there? I don't think it was anywhere in Canada. I know we're kind of getting off topic on this, but wasn't there someone that was hacked somewhere where all the files had for everybody being whether you were or were not vaccinated was compromised? So now they actually have no clue who has actually gotten the jab and who hasn't gotten the jab. Wasn't
Yes.
there somewhere where it's
One
like,
can
It
hope.
was
are we like really close to that point?
I feel like
Somewhere in
Anonymous,
so, I
Europe.
mean,
I feel like Anonymous just needs to hack in, just switch it all to like, check green, and then they're screwed and we carry on with life.
yeah, just hack in, do
try-
control
I
alt
feel like
delete.
that was I feel like this was a South American country, but I don't know for sure, and I can't.
I
Google
thought it was
fast
a
enough to find
European
it.
one, but either way, there was
Okay.
definitely a nation where their database was hacked and deleted, and they were trying to recover it. And to respond to Chris saying that soon the feds will be monitoring your every move via cell phone SIM card tracking, they're already doing it.
Ah, yes, but
yeah,
and it's not in
that's
the
a
show note.
long time ago.
It's not in the show notes, but the Ontario government has out the Ontario government or the federal government.
Feds.
One of the governments. I think it's is it the feds? Yeah. Someone has out a tender that I saw.
I don't know what you're talking about yet.
Over the weekend. No, I don't have show notes for this. But over the weekend I saw a tender request for proposals come out for mobile service providers, cellular service companies, to provide the ability to provide data to the government about where people are, when they are, and what they're using. Because they want to provide analytics data about what's going on with people, but it's really close to a slippery slope invasion of privacy thing. Because if you start aggregating cell phone data, you can determine where all of your customers are, and then you're giving all of that information to a government agency like the health people, whatever group they're part of, Health Canada, or like your local health board or province or whomever. So you can track where everyone is going. Not that they can't do this now, but to be able to get all the cell phone companies to bid on this and be like, okay, so Bell, TELUS, Rogers, whoever, for $1 billion, you can tell us where all of the customers on the cell phone network are, and who they're near, and who's on the same tower as them, and who they're sending information to, and all of these other fun pieces of metadata that I can then aggregate and do something with, and be like, well, all of these people were at the same place at the same time, and they don't live at the same address, so like there's something there.
Yeah, I mean, they were already using this technology at the beginning of this whole lockdown to not necessarily pinpoint individuals, but to see where groups of people were meeting.
And I think this is the problem, is this is where
in order
it's going
to
be
break
going,
up the groups. Yeah, so
we're going towards more of this tracking.
Yeah, to reply to some of the comments. Yes, prepaid phones is a good idea. Now is a perfect time to go and get them while mask rules are still in effect, so that your face isn't on a camera, allegedly. Or
you want to make sure you find a store that still takes cash, though.
Yeah, you got it cash. Or if you happen to know any local homeless people and you want to pay them a little bit of extra cash to go and get you your cell phone, that's the way to do it.
Capitalism, folks.
Yes.
Hey, if you go buy me this phone, I'll buy you a rock.
No, you could get a burner phone cash for a reasonable price. You just say, here's X number of dollars, keep the change, just bring the phone back to me, and you wait for them outside the store. Yeah. And then you've got a phone that is not associated to your name for whatever reason you may need that for, as a backup for something.
Yeah, for reasons.
Yeah.
And you can buy prepaid cards pretty much anywhere.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Let's keep going down the
Let's just go back
path here.
to flip phones.
I mean, there's something
So
to be
I'll
said
go
for
back
that.
to flip phones.
There's something for not having the spy device in your pocket, I think. Let's carry on with Ontario nonsense. This is in CTV News. Ontario slashes gathering sizes in entire province as alarm bells... Wow, I can't read for shit. Ontario slashes gathering sizes for entire province as alarm bells ring over COVID-19 spike.
For that spike that gives you sniffles? Is that the one we're talking about?
Yeah.
Sniffles and what is it? Headaches? No,
well,
causing like.
Am I reading the wrong article? I am sure that this. Sorry, I maybe have this wrong. I thought I was reading an article from today, but this says it's from September of last year. I'm just going to go ahead and take that out of the show notes because I seem to be reading the wrong thing.
Well, when the news hasn't changed for 2 years.
I mean, it's almost a funny satire that, you're reading a headline that we thought was from today, but it's from last year. It's like weird how that's happening all over again. It's like, are we in the Matrix?
Well, we are going to slashing things. I guess I have mixed up last year's news and this year's news.
Yeah, it was announced last Friday.
Same, but different.
But the worst part about it is, even though this was a thing from last year, none of us were really shocked at the facts in that news article.
I just realized that
we were all like, yeah, that's possible.
This is all fucking par for the course. Status quo.
We're back to where we were. So, speaking of being back to where we were, maybe I ought to leave that in because it'd be funny.
I think that's the show title, Back to Where We Were.
Well,
a year and a month later, welcome.
Yeah.
case you just came out of a time machine, no, you're still not on September 20th.
Well,
Yeah, like
it's,
I
December
didn't
19th.
pick up on that
it's
when I
funny
read all
how
the
that worked
articles
out.
and everything, and and none of it is
No,
surprising.
because
Like,
the
we were just
capacity
like, yeah.
limits are the same, and I missed that, and I
Yeah.
don't know why I guess I must have grabbed that from somebody
if
that
you
had that
read
as
this
current.
article,
But
the person who wrote the article that's actually from today, if you just swap out names and times, it probably reads word for word, most likely.
well, and that's sort of what I was getting
Yeah.
at, is we are going back to how things were previously. So in Ontario, as of the 19th of December, yesterday, at the time of recording, a lot of stuff is going back to 50% capacity. Restaurants, bars, strip clubs, personal services, personal trainers, retailers, shopping malls,
Gathering
spectator things, recreational facilities, tour guides, photography, marinas, cinemas, racing venues, event spaces, studios, museums, galleries, aquariums, zoos, casinos, bingo halls, fairs, and festivals. Okay. So all of the, all places that you have to, with some exception, personal care services is maybe the exception to that.
I think
All places. Sorry, say again.
I think church services as well is untouched for now.
Church services is not touched. So these are all things that we're going back to 50% capacity. But in the vast majority of cases, places where you need to show your fake vaccine passport or fake QR code, as the case may be.
Oh,
Because
if I identify as a Mandalorian and weapons are my religion, do we have capacities at gun ranges while we're shooting then?
no.
What's your magazine hold?
No.
Yes.
So we're down to 50% capacity on these things. Dave is correct. This doesn't apply for religious ceremonies, weddings, funerals, services, etc. Although it does apply to things that are being used for wedding receptions, but not the actual wedding venue.
Yeah, that was the thing that I found was
receptions.
strange. Yeah.
I got to pay for 2 wedding receptions if I want.
You get 2 halls side by side.
Yeah. And then just, when nobody's looking, you just open the door so that people just go through.
Well, and the nonsense continues, because again, we're back to the future on this. In addition to the 50% capacity limit on restaurants, there will be no drinking after 10 p.m.
Because somehow you get COVID if you drink past 10 p.m.
In Ontario,
We got
you're not
8
allowed
minutes.
to serve. You're not allowed to serve after 10 p.m. in Ontario, and restaurants and bars will have to close at 11 p.m.
Give me 2 pitchers. Last call.
Well,
I mean,
that's the
That
thing.
just
So
sounds like
there
I can
is gonna
get
be that
tanked
last
every night and
call.
still get up and go to work on time.
My question is, how weak does the variant have to get before people stop believing the same old bullshit over?
Well, I don't know how many
again.
people has Megatron killed?
None?
4
So-
cars?
2 people?
And a
So-
semi-truck.
So if it hasn't killed anyone, it's going to need to be weaker than. So it's actually going to have to bring people back to life in order for people to stop being scared of it. Is
In this country,
this how we get the zombie apocalypse we've all been waiting for?
we're letting the wrong sheep lead us to the slaughter in this country, and it's just blowing my mind that we keep following along. It's
Well,
insane.
some people are, but I mean, some people have done all of the things the government has politely asked them to do to get their 2 vaccines and their booster shot and show their real paperwork and not go out and not have jobs and
Do the
Fuck
anal
you,
swab
Doug.
and yeah.
well, meanwhile, bars and restaurants
my
are down
my
to 50% capacity, and you can't. There's to be. We are actually Ontario is now the town from Footloose,
Yeah,
which
It's no
Yes.
dancing. Yeah.
the Americans are looking at us like
no singing
poor
or dancing.
souls.
No singing or dancing in restaurants and bars, except for workers and paid performers.
Oh, so strippers can be. Yeah.
So
Pay me $5.
Well,
I'll go sing.
I'm curious about this because, my understanding of strip clubs in Ontario is about as comprehensive as my understanding of
Ask away. I've been to
illicit
many.
pharmaceuticals in this province. Was
It
stripping?
sounds like we
was,
need to do some research.
Yes,
Was
3 times.
dancing allowed by the patrons in strip clubs before?
You could go on
mean-
stage to do stuff.
Yeah, but
Put
you had to put
$5
a
in your
$5 bill in your mouth.
bill in your
yeah,
mouth.
and
Yeah,
you're
so
not
you're-
really dancing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not so
Right.
much
So
dancing.
like, I feel like that rule hasn't really affected strip clubs. Because
No.
like, yes, okay,
No,
only the strippers
no.
are allowed to dance, but I feel like that was also the rule before. Because like, no offense, I don't want to see none of you on the
Yeah,
stage.
but they're also. I mean, but at the same time, right? They're also talking about every other bar.
Oh, we're talking about
Workplace
karaoke
Yes.
bars.
people.
Is
Yeah.
basically
Which
Yeah.
you're
I
gonna
mean,
get
I
COVID
can
from sharing the mic, right?
Yeah.
I can understand that. There's a bunch of other stuff with this. At concerts, theaters, cinemas, people have to remain seated. Food and drink services are not allowed to be permitted at indoor sporting events, concert venues, theaters, cinemas, bingo halls, gaming establishments, horse racing tracks, car racing tracks, and similar venues. So,
Little tidbit add on to that for the sporting venues part.
So if I go to a concert, it's going to
Well,
be
funny-
a dry concert. Ugh.
Well, funny that
and you're going to sit down the whole time.
the
Lame.
Leafs games, everybody's freaking out last week because they're like, oh, I have tickets to this game, but then this week it doesn't fucking matter. They just canceled them all because they're all like, I don't want to get stuck on the other side of the border because the stupid Canadian government won't let me back into the country in time for Christmas because we have to
What?
quarantine or some bullshit. So they're just not playing any games this week.
Well, I was
They're all
watching
canceled.
a YouTube thing, and they were talking about the NBA and how some people are just like, they're not going to play Toronto because there's a bunch of players on the team that haven't been vaccinated, and to fly into Toronto, they've all got to be vaccinated. So they're just like, meh.
Just take a forfeit.
I mean, as not the biggest sports fan ever, I feel like this is no big loss.
No, I just find
It's just-
I don't watch
it's
the
nice to
sports
see
ball
some.
either. I just found it
It's
funny.
nice to see some people, that are more in the public spotlight, that are more of the, I don't know, Hollywood types that are kind of
Agreed.
fucking
It is-
sticking it to the man as far as showing how stupid our fucking government is.
It is nice to
You know what I
see
mean?
some people that would typically be part of the progressive left, unlike based Kevin Sorbo, that are also like just saying, no, I'm not doing
No, this is stupid. This country's like
Yeah.
the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I'm just not going.
Well,
So maybe they'll wake up. I don't know. Maybe they will. I don't know.
we've covered Ontario. Let's head out west and go to the socialist hellscape that is British Columbia. It's in global news. BC enacts social gathering and event capacity limits as Omicron variant spreads. We're just going to ignore the fact that we believe the Omicron variant spreads because I don't know how their COVID tests.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, maybe we're not. Maybe we're going to get stuck on this for a moment. Can somebody explain, and like, honest question, can somebody explain to me how they can tell the variants apart? Because like, the PCR
can't,
test doesn't
it's a
show
big
you,
lie.
the rapid antigen testing doesn't show you, so like,
It has to be
How do they know
genetically
it's the-
sequenced, and there's no way they did it that fast. It's a lie.
well, that's what I'm saying. Like, how do you know it's the Omicron variant that's causing this problem in BC?
if we can even tell that people have
like
COVID,
that's why it's
how
so
do we tell
ridiculous in
which
the
one?
news.
Yeah.
The person flew in on the Sunday, and they're like, "Oh, somebody from Africa flew in, suspected of having Omicron," and within 24 fucking hours, they already know whether it was Omicron or not, and of course, it was Omicron, which is just—it's impossible. It's freaking impossible. Like the test can't even be run that fast.
Well, and that so this is
Well,
this is part of the thing that
are
bothers
they
me is, like,
genetically sequencing every single
That's what I
person
mean.
that's test positive so that we can
and this
see
is what
all of the
bothers me
variants?
is the PCR tests and the rapid antigen tests, as far as I'm aware,
There's no
don't
way.
tell you
No.
which version of the Transformers virus you got.
They can't
Yeah.
even tell you with really
If it's
good
19,
accuracy,
yeah.
really good accuracy that you even have COVID, especially with
Yeah.
the PCR test.
Yeah, they can't even tell you if you have 19 or if it's just the regular COVID flu.
So let's look at BC and all of the nonsense there. Indoor gatherings will be restricted to one household plus 10 individuals, or one additional household if everyone is vaccinated against COVID-19, which only the government could write a rule that asinine.
You're gonna
I
need
can
like
have
a
one
fucking-
household plus 10 people, or I can have two households.
I don't get it.
Wait, what?
Can you?
You're gonna need a slide rule to figure out that one.
Yeah, no, I'm going to need a
Instructions
bigger
unclear.
slide rule.
Penis stuck in the window
God.
again.
Again, that's the part that worries me.
Yeah.
Proof of
How many kids
vaccination
do
via
people
the...
have?
Well, I
Like, how
suppose
big
it's
are-
like,
How big are other households in BC?
I think it depends on which part of BC.
I'm sure the Vancouver part probably has
Did anyone
households
do
that
it?
are like 40 plus.
So I don't understand how they're getting to that number, but
Who are
it
we
applies to,
designated to be the vaccine checker at the door?
well, so this is the thing. So it applies to unorganized, or I guess disorganized, or personal type gatherings, not just organized
He
events.
showed me a PDF. I had to
But,
believe
like-
him. I can't tell the difference.
I've
Well,
received no
I don't
government
know about
training.
I don't know. Maybe the BC vaccine card is harder to.
No.
I don't know. But who's going to call on themselves?
From my understanding,
Although
the
this
vaccine card is in BC is very similar to the American one in that it's a piece of paper, like a little like cardstock card, with some blank spaces that people physically write on. It's a little bit more
Right.
rainbow colored than the American one, though, which is just like the white cardstock. It's like got some color splash on there because it's BC and it's fabulous. But like, yeah, it's handwritten. So
Well,
in theory, I
you
guess
need
if
your-
you get that paper, it's even easier to fake than an Ontario one.
Damn.
Well,
so
you're
Allegedly.
gonna need
the
to
one
show your
time I wish I lived
BC
in BC. The one time.
You're going to need
Very
to show your
nice.
BC vaccine card if you're going to any organized events.
But,
Restaurants, however,
wouldn't any event be organized though? Like,
no, they mean things like sporting events.
well, I know, but it's
or
just I find it funny
concerts
when
or-
people use that like organized events. It's like, but literally
Well,
any
as,
event
as
is
opposed to something
organized.
that's opposed to like a private event that you're.
We all
holding
just
in
showed
your
up
home.
here and then we decided to
Yeah.
have an event.
Yeah,
Yeah,
It was
right.
rather-
I say,
it
hey
was rather
guys, come over for
disorganized.
supper.
we just happened to all show up at the same place at
Yeah.
the same
It's
time.
like, you know what? I wanted to see
coincidentally.
what Gavin was
Yeah.
doing, so I just
I
showed
feel
up
like
here.
we're getting bogged down on the wrong part.
Oh, I know. It's
It's just the
one
stupidity of
those
it all. The
stupid
stupidity.
things where it's like just say events. Like,
Yeah.
Well,
Sorry,
it's-
go on.
The type
Not
of
you, it's
event is
government.
important in this.
Yeah.
I understand. Restaurants in BC, unlike in Ontario, restaurants in BC will be able to operate at full capacity with no restrictions on alcohol or service hours.
Well, you don't get COVID from sitting down. You know that, right? So
well,
right,
in
but in
makes sense.
Ontario, you
That
get
makes
COVID
sense.
sitting down after 10 p.m. drinking alcohol.
yes,
yeah. And after 11
But in-
p.m., even if you're sober.
it's true.
Right.
true.
They've also changed large venues. If you have 1,000 or more seats, capacity is limited to 50%. And you must wear a mask and QR code checking must be done. Also, unlike
So
Ontario,
if you have
Ontario
a venue
is,
that's 800, but if you have a venue that's 800, can you be 100% capacity?
yes,
Oh,
yes, up
Okay.
till 999 seats, you can have 100% capacity, and above 1,000 seats, you have to have 50% of capacity.
That makes no
However,
sense.
unlike in Ontario, where there is to be no dancing, in BC there is to be no sports. No sports until the end of January.
That makes
Including their hockey?
That makes absolutely no sense. Because
No sports tournaments until the end of January.
well, that's because they have over 1,000 seats in the
when
arena.
there's this part of the year where there's really no sporting events going on anyways. Yeah.
I didn't say I make the rules or make sense. I'm just saying those
But
are the
that's
rules.
the thing.
Also, well, no, hold on, wait. There's like the kicker, I guess. Can I use a sports analogy? I don't know if I'm using it
Yeah.
correctly, but
We'll see.
my favorite part of the whole thing in the Global News article, New Year's Eve is canceled. So we are officially at January 32nd, 2021, ladies and gentlemen. The clock is not rolling over.
I
The
just-
balls have not dropped.
Well, I mean that's true. for
BC's
BC
balls
for
haven't
sure,
dropped in a
but,
very
like,
long time.
yeah.
No offense to any.
I
of
just
us.
want to go
Yeah.
back to this venue capacity thing for a second here. So if I have 999 seats in a venue, I can fill it to
And
capacity.
a
And
bitch
that's
ain't
okay.
one.
But if I have 1,000, I'm only allowed 500 people.
Gee, I
because
wonder
science.
how much my
Yes.
capacity is going to be.
So any venue that has anything more than 999 seats is going to be ripping out seats so that they can maximize the capacity.
Bro, I would 100% if I was like a smallish venue, local theater.
This section is closed.
Right, like I would literally just be like unbolting some shit and putting it in storage because
It's caution tape. That's it.
Yeah, you'd be better off taking 100 seats out than
exactly.
To have a 999
These seats are broken. They don't count.
To have. They don't count.
Thinks
like,
we need to
unbolt them, throw them in the back alley.
Not dropped. I think he's right.
Yeah,
I don't know. I put it in the potential list of show.
That is a good one.
Titles.
That is a good one. But that just shows how ridiculous and nonsensical this is. Because it's like, oh well, you can have 999 people in a venue sitting side by side, no problem at all. But the minute that you add one more person, we need to knock it down to half.
That's it. Send 499.
Who makes up these rules? This is absolutely ridiculous. I know, but
interns. It's got to be interns. That's the only thing I can I can explain. Like interns.
Do they just do like Mad Libs where they write out the rule, but it's got missing pieces, and then they just randomly pick numbers and arbitrary.
I feel like that is literally how they've been dealing with the entire pandemic.
It's like,
you've nailed it.
All right. Hold on. What is your absolute maximum capacity? All right, let's pull it out of the hat. Oh, it's 999. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Won the jackpot.
What time do they have to stop drinking by? They're just pulling weird random shit out of hats to make.
Are they allowed to dance or sing or neither? Yeah. So on the topic of the dancing and singing though, New Year's Eve officially canceled in British Columbia.
Yeah, everywhere else though is fine. Just BC was not going to be.
I'm throwing a fucking party.
They're staying in 2021 for the definite future.
So, did anybody tell COVID about all these rules? Right, like if there's only 999 people, it doesn't apply. Right, like the COVID rules don't apply.
So hold up. It's 999 fully vaccinated people. Right, like this is my favorite part of the whole thing is you went along with everything the government told you to do and you followed all the rules and you got your 2 shots and you're in line for your booster and you're wearing 6 masks and you stopped going to work and you haven't gone to a restaurant and all of and the government is still like, you know what? On 15th thought, could you guys just bend over while we cancel New Year's?
So there'll be no partying in BC like it's 999 people in a venue.
It'll be like 1999, right before the 2000.
Right? Yeah, but that's too many. It's only 999, not 1,000, 19,000, and all that. It's just 999.
1999.
Yeah. I've been drinking.
Let's do one more. We've gone to the butthole of the country. We've gone to the West Coast. We should go all the way to the East Coast. Get the full
the other butthole
Canadian experience in. No,
the full spectrum of the buttocks?
All of the buttholes.
Or is the East Coast the mouth?
I don't. New Brunswick backtracks on vaccine passports for grocery stores. This came out on Friday. This is in True North News. There's a bunch of other.
It's funny how they're the ones that are reporting on it, but nobody else is.
Well, so this is the thing that kind of bothers me, and I mean, everybody knows I trust True North News as much as the CBC, which is to say I trust neither of them at all. But I can't find this corroborated in any mainstream media.
That there was going to be
no.
grocery stores,
a bunch of places.
They all talked about. Yeah. They all talked about, no, you need a vaccine. You need to show proof of vaccine to get groceries.
I mean,
but none of them
the passports
are
but the thing is that that's my line. That's my line. Passports for grocery stores is my line.
This is the thing. So I'm wondering if this is a scream the headline, whisper the retraction type of event. Because there was a bunch of mainstream media coverage, CTV News, CP328, Sun, CBC, all had articles about New Brunswick allowing grocery stores to implement a vaccine passport system. Yeah. True North News has been bitching about it for a month. And True North News says, credit to themselves. After sustained pressure by True North and its readers, the New Brunswick government has announced it is no longer allowing grocery stores to bar unvaccinated Canadians.
I mean, to be fair, they probably were one of the only media outlets that was outraged
Right,
by
right.
this.
No, I mean,
Yeah.
like, fair
But-
enough, right? But, like,
Fair.
I don't love using True North News
No.
as a source because
No.
I don't feel like they're a terribly reliable source, but also I feel the same way about the CBC for slightly
Yeah.
different reasons. And I can't find this in any
Yeah.
mainstream. There's a bunch of other, like,
Oh, I'm absolutely sure this is a case of it's true that they have backpedaled on this, but everyone else is just being quiet because they want everyone to still think that that's the case, right?
well,
So
and
when did this article come out? Friday, you said?
the 17th of
17th.
the 17th of December.
Friday.
And there is a government press release that goes along with this from the government of New Brunswick. I'm just surprised that I had to go to a government website to find that, and that it's not like anywhere else. And that's why I'm
Are you
thinking that
honestly
this is a
surprised
like
though?
yes,
Oh.
You're
because
never gonna find
I
that on a
yeah.
left-wing website though.
I would have figured that somebody, Sun News, The Rebel, someone else other than True North News would have been like,
Yeah.
we stuck it to the man, and this is not
Yeah.
a thing. And like, I
One
figured
of
there would have
the
been.
less than tens of other somewhat right-leaning media outlets.
I just expected that somebody would be
Yeah.
like, we got
It
a
also is
victory.
Monday.
And
Yeah.
like, there could
Yeah.
be like
Give it a
some
couple
awesome
days.
conservative light switch brain stuff going on here. And we could be like, vaccine passports don't work. Success! Conservative victory! And like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I'll,
Yeah.
I'll do some interning. I know lots of people out in New Brunswick, so I'm gonna make.
well, I'm sure.
well, I mean, like,
Make
out
some
there,
inquiries.
there
I've got
might be a little bit more.
I've got a press release from the government of New Brunswick that says like this is legit. But
But it was-
also, the only way that I would have found this, because it's buried in the government of New Brunswick website, is by the
Yeah.
virtue of it having been on True North
Well,
News.
but that's the thing.
'Cause I
right?
would have
So-
never seen this otherwise.
Yeah, so there was a bunch of like national media coverage of them proposing this change. So I get it, but it seems like all of the typical mainstream media was like blowing the government's horn as per usual and being like, yay. But now that it's been retracted, as it should be, because this is absolutely ridiculous, now you've only got like the weird, like no name right-wing conspiracy theory, media being the only one reporting it, even though it's true, because you can track it back to an actual government website and see the statement they've released. None of the other ones are doing. I'm sure locally there will be some more media outlets picking up because it is local news. But you'd
Yeah.
think that the national media outlets would be like, hey, so that thing that we talked about, yeah, they've totally pulled back on it. But nah, because
Well, and
if
this
they
is- this
do,
is
they're
my
not going to
problem.
get the government money to do the thing that.
The other places that are like shouting about this being good when you go to like your news aggregator are really reputable looking places like LifeSite News, eTurbo News, and Don't Speak News. Like all places that I think of as like highly reputable outlets.
Yeah.
Say what?
Meanwhile,
Yeah.
if I go to if I go to an actual like small town New Brunswick newspaper, if I go to the Charlotte Observer, for example, which is like an actual real newspaper,
Yeah.
from a week ago before this rule came into effect, they were totally on like light switch brain, this isn't really going on kind of stuff. Like here's no unvaccinated shoppers aren't banned from grocery stores in this Canadian province. And it
Well, I
goes
think
on
they
to be
were-
like, we're not, and it says that, stores are not actually doing this fascist, their words, this fascist policy of banning unvaccinated Canadians. It's like, well, no, but like the government made a plan that said that they,
I think they were just
are.
more factual in their representation of that story, because it was possible for stores to do it. Whether they did or not was up to the store.
sure. And I
Whereas
get that.
the mainstream media was just like unvaccinated, no groceries. And they
Wasn't
were
this
like
not
proud
the
of
first?
it.
Wouldn't this be not much different than when good old Dougie tried to make a police state where he flat out said like cops can pull you over, ask you where you're going, and fine you if they think whatever, and every cop station
country, or
or
in the
force
province,
in Ontario said get fucked. We're not doing that.
We're not doing
And
that.
they kind of
Yeah.
Well,
backtracked
I don't
on
know
that.
if they went as far as
Yeah,
to say
so-
get fucked to we're not doing that, but they did say that we're not doing that. I really,
Yeah.
I think
So
that
I
there's
think that's
really
what it
not a
was,
lot
right?
to
Like,
stop
'cause-
them from doing that if they decided they wanted to, though. That's the
Well,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and I'm
But-
sure that there
and
were
that's
some
what it was, right?
grocery
The article-
stores that were going to go ahead with this.
Because that's what it was, right? Like that the original article wasn't so much that this was government mandated, but it was the option of, they said we are allowing stores to say if you're not vaxxed, you're not allowed in.
As much as I hate to say it, it was a brilliant move on the government's part because it allows them
put
to
the
push
onus on the individuals. But here, so my problem is, I want this to be a knife that cuts both ways. If you want to say that businesses can choose to enforce this, then I want the option to businesses to not enforce your nonsense rule.
If you want to make a store say you have to be vaxxed to come in, you should have the option of having a store that says you have to be unvaxxed to come
My
into
store
the store.
only serves left-handed people.
Yeah.
Fucking A, I'm in.
Yeah,
I'm
I
left-handed.
am opening a grocery store that only serves unvaccinated people to ensure that they keep their dirty, filthy diseases to themselves.
Yeah.
The spicy take on the AIDS pandemic, but I'm okay with it.
But
Right,
yeah,
like-
it has to be a dual-sided street. Right?
Well, just like if
not
I
like
want to
those-
run a private business that only employs vaccinated people, someone else should be able to have a business that only employs unvaccinated
100%.
people. But it doesn't work that
Absolutely.
way.
Yeah,
But-
we should at some point, not now. I am curious about how that works because I feel like if I started to ask my potential employees about their medical histories, that's some sort of like violation of their rights.
Huh.
But
Have you ever
either
had
here or there.
chlamydia? Is apparently not the thing you should ask.
Well, and again, like, do you regularly or ever engage in homosexual activities? Because I feel like, well, maybe I don't want to employ you if you're like at a higher likelihood of contracting AIDS or HIV, because you're going to cost me more for my insurance program. But if I start asking questions like that, I'm going to get a human rights complaint against me.
Well, you can't
But
even
that
ask
also
people
all
if they
depends.
consume alcohol at a more than normal rate, and whether that'll impact your.
Oh no,
medical
I solved
costs as
that
an
problem by
employer.
just bringing a six-pack to the interview. That's,
Right, like you
but
can't
you
even
also-
ask that.
But you also didn't ask me how much you were going to pay me an hour for these favors. So that's wrong.
$20 is $20.
Green note, sound good? All right.
Well, let's move on. We've got a little bit of gun news.
Yeah.
I apparently missed out on the deal of the century at Cabela's.
Yeah, shit.
Yeah.
I also don't have a firearm that could shoot this, but still, could have sold it for a hot dollar. Real hot dollar.
Cabela's Canada?
Tragically, Dave lost his SKS in a boating accident.
I did,
Cabela's can't. It's probably with his hat.
Yeah.
possibly.
Cabela's has issued a recall on ammunition, so this is your public service announcement. If you purchased ammunition in the 7.62x39 variety from Cabela's in the year of 2021, you should go and check
Should come talk to
if
us.
the crate is marked with a number 1, or if the crate is marked with a number 1 on the handle, the ammo may be spicier than you had
Yeah.
expected.
You
Or
should
yeah,
bring it
if
to
you-
us immediately for
Yeah.
proper disposition.
or if you've shot it and you notice that it flames as you shoot it.
It does fun things.
So
Keep shooting it and don't say a
Yeah.
word.
North Silva
Yeah.
brought in and sold to Cabela's Canada, which Cabela's Canada sold to end users and customers. They accidentally brought in armor-piercing incendiary 7.62x39 ammo.
Like the spiciest
tell
of all ammo.
You can
Nice.
tell it's armor-piercing incendiary
With a black
because
tip.
it is a black lacquered case with a black tip.
Sexy
The
as
tip
fuck.
of the bullet. So it's a copper
Yes.
jacketed 7.62 bullet, but
Just
the tip of
tip.
it has been dunked in like some black, and
Yeah.
it's a black lacquered case as opposed to like a brass looking case.
Yeah, so it is a BBC, a big black case.
Case, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, in the most mean
Cartridge.
tier of mean
Get
tier
your heads
releases,
out of the gutters,
Yeah.
listeners.
I received a memorandum from the Chief Firearms Officer in Ontario. I assume this has gone out for all provinces, but I don't know for certain. But the CFO has sent out the most meme tier response ever. It's on official government letterhead from the Ministry of the Solicitor General, CFO's office in Orillia. Memorandum to all shooting clubs and ranges. So if you're a member of a gun club in Ontario, you probably got a copy of this letter. I know I did. They sent out this prohibited flammable and incendiary ammo with the number 1 stamped on the case. The ammunition contains a tannerite type substance.
Get fucked.
I mean, not quite, but
That's the dumbest
Is
fucking
not
thing I've ever
at
fucking
all,
heard.
but wait. But wait, there's more.
There's more.
If you read through the press release, you get to the unnumbered page number 4 of the letter from the CFO's office, where they literally went to imageflip.com and took a picture of good ammo next to 2 pieces of bad ammo, like 4 cartridge cases total, like 2 regular 7.62x39 and 2 armor-piercing incendiary 7.62x39. And on one side it says okay, and on the other side it says not okay. And it's like it's the meme
it's
text.
a meme. It's a meme.
It's the
That's-
imageflip.com like impact font face with the border around it, like the shading around it. Like it needs a picture of Doge next to this, because this is like the most meme tier meme picture to
or more
Intern work.
appropriately-
More government intern work. This is what this
more
is.
appropriately, the RCMP ATF guy going over the fence. Like that would have been the
Like,
one to go with. Like,
this is the most bullshit meme tier press release I have ever seen from the government. And I've dealt with Veterans Affairs.
And at the end of the day, everybody better not say a fucking word or hand in shit. That stuff
Well,
better be
but so
buried in the backyard for a later
the
date.
problem with this though is because in this country, because we have to write all the things down, and with all the gun stuff, like unfortunately, I think if you bought this, you're kind of fucked, because I think they will make an example of it.
Yeah.
I mean, if you get caught with this, I think it's going to be bad. But
Yeah,
I think you should
it would
just
be-
shoot it and then you don't have it.
well, but
I think, well, I mean, so obviously, this is not legal advice. This is an entertainment podcast, and you
Yes.
should follow the directions of Cabela's or the Chief Firearms Office.
Yeah.
And you should contact Alan at northsilva.com and get your compensation, because they have some sort of like, if you've been touched by API ammo, we can get a fair and reasonable settlement for your suffering, right?
Starving children and stuff like that.
yeah,
All of that said, if I hypothetically ended up with like the spiciest of ammunition,
in a spam can.
Yeah, I'm going to have a hard time notifying anyone about anything, because it just looks like all the other 7.62x39 I have in my collection of ammunition that I collect for reasons.
Just replace it with the normal stuff
Wow.
and then
Because you know what the Cabela's part number is for this? It's CH762391500, which all that means is it's 2 spam cans of 7.62 ammo.
Yeah,
But even if they come to your door and say knock 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 knock,
I
hey,
shot
we
it.
noticed
It's
you
gone.
purchased this ammo, and let's say, right, like not as from a legal standpoint, but purchased this, I shot off 20 rounds, and I decide to bury or skillfully hide the rest, and they say knock knock knock, and I say, hey, I shot it all, I didn't notice.
well, you
And
to say you
like,
didn't
is
notice,
there
they
anything?
would know you're lying, because it's
Or I
incendiary ammo.
didn't think anything of it, right? Let's just say,
Yeah,
like, whatever.
Anytime
But
I shoot
is
steel,
there-
there's sparks. I just thought it was extra sparky.
I was shooting
I
at
mean,
steel. I thought it was like bad steel.
Except that it's like it's sparking before it even hits the steel. That's the problem.
Okay,
So I guess it all
But we're
depends
all-
on how much.
I don't think
how
you've
much
ever
they
seen me
brought
play
in
dumb, sir.
and how it was mixed in with everything else. So if they brought in like nothing but this, and that was sold for a period of time,
No,
then
this
you're
is
kind
just,
of
this is
screwed.
clearly
But if it
mixed
was
in
like
with-
1,000 spam cans of this mixed in with 5 to 10,000 spam cans of other like proper 7.62 ammo and randomly given out, and they don't know what cases went to what store, you have a better chance of going,
Ah.
well, the spam can that I bought was regular ammo, and no, you can't see it.
Sorry, I need to
So
address
it'll
a thing on
work.
YouTube because of the whole like public service announcement nature of this. So to be clear, this is 2 spam cans in an ammo crate. The extra spicy ammo is marked with a Roman numeral, or no, what's not Roman numeral? What's the regular Arabic one? The regular number set that we use?
Yeah.
Arabic one stamped on the handle of the crate with the 2 spam cans in it. So it's not actually Schrodinger's ammo. Sorry to burst the YouTube commenters bubbles. It's it is easy to identify based on the packaging whether or not this is the extra spicy or regular McRib.
Yeah. Also, the whole armor piercing is not illegal. Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not.
Right. So,
If it's
Well, and
specifically
it's more the fact
designed
that
to
it's
be
like-
armor piercing, then it is. But if
Armor
it just
piercing
happens
incendiary rifle ammunition in
to
this
be,
country
it's not.
is one of
But
those things.
API is definitely on
Yeah.
the list because it is designed to not just pierce the thing, but also set it on fire.
Armor piercing incendiary, like I said, if I somehow came into possession of this, I wouldn't be upset about it, but also as a public service announcement and definitely not as
Yeah.
legal advice, there's a recall notice that went out that if you want to read, it's in the show notes.
Yeah, and I would be kind of curious to see how much of this got mixed in with everything else before I did my civic duty and returned it.
Send it to us. We'll dispose of it for you.
No, contact Alan at North Silva. I want nothing to do with this for legal reasons. But if you want me to contact Alan on your behalf,
Yeah.
True.
you need to send a crate.
But yes, it as the Albertan saying, it's only for pistol. But that's the thing. So it's like there's
so
weird.
I don't want to debate the
rules
finer
and
points of how
regulations,
armor
yeah.
piercing stuff works in this country because it's
Stupid and doesn't make any sense.
yes, and we're not lawyers and we don't play them on the internet. But armor piercing incendiary ammo of this type, according to the RCMP, is not cool. So you should follow what they say and get your money back and buy some cool ammo instead.
Yeah.
Or do whatever else you think is best in this situation.
Yeah. Hang on to the cooler
I'd be
ammo.
super excited if I got some extra spicy ammo.
Could you imagine if you bought that and you didn't even really notice it, like because you're like shooting at night or something, and all of a sudden it's just like, like
Fireballs everywhere.
yeah. Oh.
Let's tackle one more. This isn't news per se, but the mandate letters came out for the new government recently.
Yeah.
So I'm only going to look at one
Revelations.
mandate letter. Let's look at the public safety mandate letter. Our new public safety minister, Mendes.
I thought we were gonna end this on a high note, not a black pill.
Well, I don't know that it's necessarily either, but I feel we would be remiss to not cover this since mandate letters are out now.
Yeah.
So I'll hit the highlights here. We won't read the whole letter.
I think you mean low
Continue
lights,
to work
but yeah.
to keep our cities and communities safe from gun violence by continuing to implement C71 regulations on firearms license verification and business record keeping.
So for the layman, that's the backdoor gun registry.
Yes.
Making it mandatory for owners to sell banned assault weapons back to the government for destruction or have them rendered inoperable at the government's expense.
So much for grandfathering.
Requiring
So,
the
by-
authorization.
By what they mean by that, would it be that if you want to keep your AR-15, for
You
example,
have to have it
you would
rendered
have to-
permanently inoperable.
Yeah. So their
you would have
version
to
of
bring it somewhere.
yeah. So they
You would have to
will,
bring it to a government site, and
Well,
they
not
would render it
necessarily-
inoperable on your dime.
No.
Is that what
Not
that means?
no. So not necessarily a government site, but you would need to take it to a gunsmith of some sort that is authorized to do the work, and they would basically weld it to government specs at the government's expense. So that is their version of grandfathering. Is it's you can absolutely keep this thing, you just have to have it welded. So the only difference between us, which we're allowed to at any point in time take any of our firearms to a gunsmith and have them dewadded, usually at our expense, and get them deregistered and everything else. And then that becomes not a firearm anymore. It's just a cool wall hanger.
Can we tell them where to put the weld?
No,
that's
they
not how
need.
that
There's
works.
yeah. Unfortunately, there are requirements that they need to do in order to render it inoperable. Um, all the cool working parts can't be working parts no more.
Well, if it's just a lower, I'm just thinking like, you fill up the the trigger bay area with weld, and then, just take it back home and just, mill it back out.
It'd be they'd have to like fill in the whole thing probably.
There's a will, there's a
But
way.
Okay.
well, yeah, or they would be
So-
welding like a metal magazine in there and then filling the thing and everything else. So like there are more or less established criteria on what they need to do in order to render it inoperable legally. But like that's an option that we have right now. Even prior to any of this OIC nonsense, if I wanted to take my AR into the gunsmith and go, yeah, I just want to have you weld the shit out of this because I just want to hang it on my wall so it looks cool, they'd be like, are you sure? I'd be like, yeah, I'd pay them some money. They would do that. Then they could file the paperwork and it's no longer a firearm and it doesn't get, they remove the registry, right? So that's a thing you could already do. Now they're just saying you're going to have to do that because grandfathering historically meant that you get to at least keep it in operable condition. Whether you could shoot it or not is debatable because it depends on what kind of grandfathering you got and all the other things. But at least it was operable. Now it's you can hang on to it, but you just gotta fucking it's just a piece of metal now.
Deface it.
But
Yeah,
we'll pay for it. We'll pay for it, so it's okay.
Yeah.
You ain't getting shit for it, but we'll pay to fucking weld it.
Okay. Okay.
Requiring the permanent alteration of long gun magazines so they can never hold more than 5 rounds.
Dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard.
I mean, aren't all of our long gun magazines already? I guess if they're semi-auto, not
Our
all.
AI but what about bolt gun magazines?
Long gun magazines
it says
cannot
long
hold
gun
more.
mag.
Yeah.
That
Oh, I assume that to mean all rifles.
Yeah.
exactly. That's why I'm saying it's fucking bullshit.
I'm not arguing. I'm just
Yeah.
reading what's on the
The
mandate.
whole thing is bullshit. But this is where like all of you fuddy hunter fucks that said that they weren't coming for you, this is them coming for
This
you.
is the beginning for you, buddy. It's only going to
Not
keep
that those
going from
people
here.
listen to this show,
Yeah.
because we would have
But tell
turned
your
them off
friends.
long ago. But just so that it's been said, this is them coming specifically for you now.
Yep. And they're going to keep coming.
Banning the sale or transfer of magazines capable of holding more than the legal number of bullets. And I thought that was already a law, but maybe I'm wrong.
So I guess
don't
the
really get that one.
interpretation of this, are we allowed to handle magazines live on air? Is this a thing we're allowed to?
I'm going to go with no, just to be safe.
All right. Well, if I was going to, I would pick one up over here, and I've got several Magpul variety plastic AR style magazines that have the rivet, which was considered permanently altered because you would need a tool to remove that. Now it sounds like if it is capable of holding anything more than 5 at all, like by removing something, it's going to be a prohibited device.
I feel like that's very speculative. If it was good enough to have it riveted before, and they haven't changed the Firearms Act, I don't know how it would not be good enough now.
Well, but I think they're trying to say that it's not the case, and we know that it's not the case, but I think they're trying to say that it's the case that people are going and buying legal magazines and then unriveting them and then committing crimes. And it's mostly us, legal gun owners that are doing this because we're the scum of the earth. Whereas if I had a 5-round magazine that was only ever a 5-round magazine, there's nothing for me to do to it that could make it be more than 5 rounds, short of literally welding several of them together to create some sort of illegal magazine, opposed to getting a drill bit.
So just making a prohibited device as opposed to making a prohibited device. I see.
But one requires a little bit more effort than simply removing the 5-cent aluminum rivet.
I didn't say their law made any sense or was a good law.
Yeah.
But Making a prohibited
all
device
the-
is still making a prohibited device. It doesn't matter how much work you put
I
in.
agree with you, but I think what they're trying
Yeah.
to do is to say that it's too easy. And again, yes, it's some speculation, but
Too
I
easy.
think that's what they're getting at.
Have you ever seen a liberal use a power drill?
I mean,
I was just about to say. I was like, you're
They
also
don't own one for starters.
they're
insinuating that someone would know how to use the drill.
they're
take that
struggling
revenue.
at the whole putting on the work boots part of that whole equation. So no, but
or buying.
But
stuff
wait till
for
they
the-
wait
with
till they
their,
get to the
you know,
PPE part. Hey guys,
Yeah.
iPro.
But if I put work boots on, they can't see my funny socks.
that's true.
True.
But I
Onward
think this
to
is
the-
where they're going with that one, is to try to make all magazines illegal unless they can only ever hold 5 rounds.
I mean, you're probably not wrong. I just think obviously the whole thing is asinine.
Yeah.
Providing
So,
financial support.
Would this
Providing
also
finan-
apply to rimfire?
It
Long
says
guns.
magazines and long guns. It doesn't say what kind of
Yeah.
long guns. So
It's nice
yes.
and vague. It's nice and vague for
Yeah.
you, so you can speculate.
Yeah, and as we've speculated in the chat, what about, so it doesn't say anything about pistol mags, but what if I want to use my Glock magazine in any of the pistol caliber carbines that also use Glock magazines? Is that going to be
Yes.
now considered dual use, and I now have to permanently alter that to 5 rounds? Or will my 10-round magazine still be okay? We don't know. My guess is
Well,
that
and
the
until they
government will
change the
do what the
law.
government does and bend me over as much as they can, much like
Until they
consider-
change the law, we won't know.
Right.
yeah,
So even before we get done with all this, right? Like the Minister of Public Safety and everything. Like this is
can we
the
put the
first
Minister of Public Safety, but there's like the air quotes over safety? Is that, can that be his official title?
absolutely, right? Like
Public.
with everything going on, right? Like I everybody that listens to this, like you need to go read this, because the whole first page and a half of this is talking about COVID-19, and we've never faced this, and Canadians have stepped up to the plate and they've done what needs to be done, right? And then the first thing where he's like, these are my bullet points to do anything, is all about gun violence and gun crime and ass raping every single one of us on here. But
No,
like
the thing that I love is the
other-
Minister of Public Safety mandate letter has, like, I don't know, maybe like a half a paragraph on all this gun stuff, but the rest of it has to do with COVID and LGBTQ plus 7 9er Echo Tango 5er.
right, but like other than what happened in Nova Scotia, what other crazy
Oh, you mean where
incident
a
that
crazy person who we still don't
Made by
understand what they
Jesus.
did killed a bunch of police officers and stole their firearms and then used a bunch of smuggled firearms that they weren't legally allowed to possess in this country to commit crimes with? That guy?
Possibly paid $400,000
yeah.
by CSIS.
Well, the RCMP,
So all that,
not CSIS, but
other-
same,
Oh,
same,
my
but
bad.
different.
other than
Same,
all
same, but
that,
different.
right? Other than that
Other than
scenario,
the smuggled
which-
guns and the murdering police officers and stealing their duty firearms, yes, other than those things.
Oh, and then
Other than
plotting in
that,
advance
right?
to make a RCMP
Yeah.
car and the uniform.
Yeah, other than those things.
And yeah.
Yeah.
Other
So
than that, yeah.
what other than I mean, we could even debate on that whole legal firearms possession, even on that scenario compared to anything else. But what was the last time that a legally acquired firearm or overcapacity, and I use air quotes for that, overcapacity magazine, according to Canadian law, would be used by some, even prior to all that, right? Like they're so trying to like
Well, so I guess
bend us
that depends.
over.
So
and everything.
the problem is in this country, like a lot of the magazines in this country are like California compliant magazines, so they're not pinned. So they're just 10 rounds for pistol round. All of the rifle ones are usually proper 30 rounders that are pinned or crimped or welded or something. But for pistol magazines, because that's by and large what crimes are committed with, is pistol magazines. Most companies make a California compliant or other shitty state compliant magazine that's 10 rounds, and we just bring those in, because then why go to the extra work of pinning or crimping or welding when there's already an option available that's legal for your market? So the illegal overcapacity magazines that they're using with these guns are also smuggled into the country illegally, along with the guns that are smuggled in illegally and are used to commit the crime. So getting us to weld anything or do this, that, or whatever else is ridiculous, because if they can get the gun in, it's probably coming across with at least one magazine.
Yeah, I feel like that's
so
fair.
if I use a smuggled gun, but I use a Canadian compliant magazine, do I get less?
Yes, you
Jail
have
time?
one. You have one less charge.
Okay.
Which I'm
good
sure
to
will
know.
go far.
Yeah.
For book club, we have a couple of books coming up. December's book, which next week is book club. The last Monday of the month is when we do book club. December is the Small Unit Leader's Guide to Counterinsurgency, the official United States Marine Corps manual. And January's book is the True North Tradecraft Preparedness Guide, a primer on urban and suburban disaster preparedness. And Boris was on the show a couple weeks ago. Tune in for book club. It's a good time. We talk about books, less about the news. No COVID stuff, usually. Let's go
specifically relevant.
True.
Let's go anti-clockwise. We'll start with Dave. Dave, where can everybody find you when you're not winning shotgun matches?
You can find me on the grams at Diesel6223, showing pictures of me winning shotgun matches.
I mean, my favorite pictures are of you winning.
It's true. From behind, you get all, the full picture.
Gavin, where
If
can
it's a
everyone
picture-
find you?
If it's a picture of you from behind, who's winning?
Yeah, well,
Everyone.
I guess whoever's in front of them. I guess you can find me also on the Instagrams. Certainly not in front of Dave while he's winning. Urbex GTA.
Pierre, where can everybody find you?
Off the wall customizing, Facebook, Instagram, Clapper, bunch of other
You're on the
social
Twitter?
media things.
Are you on the Twitter
Yeah,
or the twitting or whatever it's called?
If you do and someone replies, it's probably my wife, or off the wall customizing at Gmail. We can make you pretty much anything. We just got our last sweater. It was the pre-order. It's coming out. It was a fucking disaster trying to find sweaters. Apparently, we waited to try to do a pre-sale at the worst time of the fucking year, but we sourced everything out. The last one just came in, so we will be making those and sending emails out and everything. So
When are we doing
it was
hats?
I'm still testing out the one hat I have. I've got but I know you lost yours in a boating accident, so I'm sure if I
did.
do it now, you'd at least have
Legit,
it.
this is not like this is not a play on words or
No,
I had my guns with it. I
did,
actually lost it while I was boating, fishing for some bass with
I
my
know.
father. It flew off my head.
So
It's
that's why I'm
gone.
saying,
I'm
like,
very
if I
sad.
do,
I've been
if I
sad
do
for
it
months.
now,
There's a
if
hole
I
in my
did
heart.
it now,
My hat is supposed
if
to
I
be.
did the hat now, at least you'd get a few months with it. But we're working on it. We may source that out in a little bit.
Sounds good, buddy.
For the
Hey.
if you've listened to the show this long, you deserve a discount code. Use discount code Patriot at checkout when you're shopping at ragnaroktactical.ca. Save yourself some money. We're still doing $10 flat rate shipping, although I did get my notice. Canada Post rates are going up, probably by more than a little bit. So we'll see how long the $10 thing lasts for.
Merry Christmas, Happy Yule to everyone out there. To all our
Yeah,
listeners.
it'd be a happy Yule, happy first day of Yule, everybody. Happy Christmas for those of you that do that. I think Hanukkah is over now. Benny's not here to correct me.
Chanukah?
Yeah. No, the Chanukah Day 8 passed us a little while ago.
There you go.
I have to apologize to Rod. We couldn't get Rod onto the show this week. Full panel busy episode. Rod didn't want to talk about COVID in BC, so it wasn't so much about COVID in BC.
It's a little
he just
too
didn't
real.
want to talk about it.
It's just,
Well, it was more that he just wanted to talk about BC, not about the rest of the country. And that's, I mean,
We
we're
already had 10 people over
national.
already, so he couldn't fit us in.
Yeah.
We're a national program.
Quick question from the comments. When is Ragnarok getting plates in stock?
You should email Ragnarok, because depending on the plates, I can probably get them made to order, but it depends on the plates. So
we'll
you should
get
email
you
me
sorted.
when I'm sober.
Yeah.
Depends on you whether I want
So
those
good luck with
ceramics,
that.
those good ceramics, or you want those level 3 plus.
Yeah, shoot us an email. You know where to find us. We'll figure it out for you. Don't worry.
Yep.
Yeah, just not right now. I've had a lot to drink and I don't want to commit to something that's not possible. For all of our
the
listeners
gingerbread
out there,
man said you can.
It's my gingerbread men. For all of our listeners out there in podcast land, I'd like to remind you that you are the true north.